Okay, so there's a thing going around on short videos and I guess other videos where people are saying those who claim child support will not be able to no longer claim that child on their taxes. That the person paying the child support will be the one allowed to claim the child instead. That this is something President Trump is working on, and to be honest with you, it just to me a bunch of BS, kind of challenge Illuminati kind of tr- trash that is being put out there. Um, President Trump never ran on that. I totally believe it's just a bunch of lies. Uh, same. This is like somebody somewhere that is making a bet challenge and wager with somebody saying, let's get this rumor started and see how far it goes. And then they start like, they're just like, it's a friendly gentleman competition. They're playing with each other. And it's probably just two geeks or two like low lives just, just poking fun is what they're doing. To get a reaction. Um, I don't believe that's true at all whatsoever. And if so, then this is the way I see it getting done. Like Pelosi, I could still hear her saying, "We don't need to we don't need to know what's in the bill. We can read the bill after we pass the bill, right?" Okay. So what happens is, and of course, in that bill's inserted a bunch of, things that give the politicians, Democrats, access and more advantage over the people they're supposed to be representing, right? Like insider trading. I believe insider trading was something that was written in the bill during 2007 when President Obama took over. That's about the time when the insider trading was inserted in there. And it gets inserted, certain things like this that screw over Americans get inserted, and they might take effect immediately, or maybe they write it in a way where it takes effect later on. So I'm wondering if the way it works is that, okay, so this is, let's say what President Trump wants. President Trump wants all these, you know, 10 things, 50 things in a bill. Well, so then somebody writes it up. Somebody has to write up the bill, right? Well, then they get one of these, then a low class liberal intern gets a hold of it, and then they insert these, maybe they get information from somewhere, they get paid, and they say, hey, intern, come here, I'm going to give you 50,000 if you just insert this in there. Anyway, they find a way to insert this wording in this bill. So then once this bill supposedly is proofreaded, so proofreaded, right, quote unquote proofreaded, it gets submitted. But in there was inserted these words, let's say, about this whole child support thing, and I don't know how many sentences it'll take, whatever, but just to get to the point, it's hidden in there. And if it's overlooked and the bill wasn't reread one last final time to be sure that nothing else extra was put in it, if nobody proofreads it, they just take the bill from this intern or take this bill from whatever department without proofreading it by the administration themselves, then President Trump signs it, and because it wasn't proofread and some low-life liberal intern inserted the wording in there, President Trump then essentially, yes, will be like implementing this idea. So I hope that it gets, if something like this is the way things like this get passed, I hope it's caught. Um, I hope it gets caught. So I can see how that would happen if a bill is not proofread one last time. So yeah, that's what I have. Um, then I want to say, beware of the politicians that are opportunists taking sound bites um, of delusional BS trash. And Elizabeth Warren is the prime example. So she was talking about how, yeah, we need to hold the billionaires and millionaires accountable, blah, 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 blah. I do support Elon Musk's idea. But what Elon Musk is there to do is to remove waste and abuse, fraud, waste, and abuse from our government, right? Him and Vivek are supposed to do this, but Vivek is now removing himself because he's thinking to run for governor of Ohio. So anyway, so Elizabeth Warren, like these loser piece of shit they try to do to keep themselves relevant, is she says something completely nothing to do with what Elon Musk is doing. She just wants to just make a soundbite so that her team and people and Democrat liberal loonies can take that soundbite and insert it to manufacture a video for you NPCs that don't know any better to fall for a bunch of BS lies, delusional shit that they're talking about. You know, the Democrats are always good about talking about holding billionaires and millionaires accountable. They're part of that. They're stealing from Americans in insider trading. They are part of that. So I don't even know what the hell they're talking about. Their friends and family are their donors. And pedophile and thief Biden talking about how oligarchs are running our country. Dude, you piece of shit. And Democrats, oligarchs are your donors, you dumbass. And so these are the billionaires and millionaires that you want to plan to hold accountable? You stupid asses. Do you think we don't know any better? You think we don't realize what you're talking about? You're just talking about the same shit. Y'all are just gauging again the NPCs in our country. Okay? But guess what? We didn't vote for you. We voted you out. And in all the swing states as well. So don't even start with your trash thinking that you're going to be pulling the wool over our eyes because we're educating the next generation. Okay? As much as they go through that little phase of resistance and all this, like, I'm going to do the opposite of my parents tell me to do and shit. I'm going to tell you what, eventually they grow up and they take their head out of their butts and they realize that, yeah, my parents are right. Yeah, my parents are right. We're teaching our children now not to be shooting themselves in the foot for the future. Okay, the reason why a lot of us came out and voted for President Trump is because of our children's future. So no matter how young and whatever public schools trying to indoctrinate our kids, the bottom line is you guys will not be put back into power. If anything, you're going to be removed. Okay, you're going to be removed. You're going to be called out for these next 4 years. The pale black and white, the dichotomy of the bullshit communist globalist shit that you stand for versus what the patriots, conservatives, God-fearing people expect for the future of our children. This is not about you and your right now and you're making your friends and family wealthy. That shit is done with. That's been going on for almost a century, okay? Ever since like the Titanic went overboard and we got the Federal Reserves and then we went from the gold standard to printing money out, to the laundering money overseas under the guise of, oh, we're going to, help our country just for y'all can rob from us in money laundering, backdoor deals. So we're done with that. We're done with that. So be advised of these liberal loony Democrats making sound bites talking about President Trump's plans. They act, some of them acting like they agree with President Trump, but then they do the mixed salad wording where they're actually saying the opposite, but they plant it in NPC's brains like, yeah, we really do agree with President Trump, but then they're talking the opposite. Why? Because it's like they're putting a spell of witchcraft. It's like a witchcraft spell to make you believe like, yeah, we do agree with President Trump's this and that. But then they're talking word salad, especially for the NPCs that don't know any better. Again, to take that soundbite to manufacture a video, to snip and bite and paste and edit something together to make like some plastic delusional video of utopia bullshit for you to fall for. When I was a little kid, I remember I used to watch like, what is it, YMCA or some of these like little group, neighborhood type commercials they would make, like, join your local this, support that, and all the time. And this is, when I was a kid, I just thought even as a kid, I thought it was bullshit. This was back in 84. I was like 8, 9, 10 years old, and I'd be seeing these videos where they'd be making like YMCA. They're talking about community, and this, to me, was like plastic, fake bullshit. fake plastic bullshit. And I was like, well, they're talking about like some big cities. We don't live in big cities. We live in a small town and we don't have anything like that. And nobody in my small town is talking about something like this. So they're just, to me, I always like, they're just catering to like big cities, or they're just rubbing it in our faces. We're a community. Let's get together, join this, or, support that. And it's like, well, what about the small towns like where I live? We don't have anything like that. We're not talking about that, So Utopia manufactured BS trash. This is the kind of stuff where the Hollywood, they try to make you feel inferior, that you're without, that you don't have. Same as Laurel Canyon back in the 60s with all the music and rock and roll and all this shit. And all them kids were nothing but the children of people in military, whose parents were in military intelligence and shit like that. So it was all just shit to make people feel inferior, for the next generation to feel inferior, that if you're not if you're not down with the Joneses, if you're not doing this, you're not cool, and you're not going to be accepted, and you're not going to be welcome into our circle, and yet these piece of shit that were protesting the Vietnam and everything, talking about, love, war, and peace, are now like politicians that took over and push for war and military takeovers so that they can get rich off the military industrial complex. So the dichotomy of this bullshit that's been going on for decades, okay, especially Generation X, we should know better, because there was only, back in the day, 3 TV channels that you just really couldn't avoid what was going on in the news. And it was not even news. It was just nothing but Mockingbird, CIA piece of trash, okay? So, these boomers, politicians, are still in there that think they're going to still be talking the same game they've been using for the same play card. You're done, piece of shit. You're freaking done. Gen X is taking over, and we're teaching the next generation not to be falling for that crap, okay? Transparency all the way. Transparency all the way. So, and I'm sure I'm missing something, and I have to come back. DEI. Here we go. DEI is not your best. I was looking up DEI. Where are the metrics of DEI? What exactly are the metrics of DEI? Okay? To be honest with you, corporations have no business in this kind of bullshit. Okay? Corporations, you're supposed to be taking the best of the best of the best here in America for competition. But no. What's happening in our country is the oligarchs taking over, supporting the finance of these, the rich billionaires supporting the finance of these bot politicians who are implementing this globalist communist shit. Talking about DEI in the fucking workplace. Are you freaking kidding me? The workplace in America is supposed to be nothing but the best of the best, okay? That shit, DEI, if anything, leave it to the education system, okay? So shut the hell up with the DEI. Leave it to the education system. That's their job, to try to give a helping hand to the less minority, or the less whatever supported, or the less, especially not illegals. Illegals don't belong in here. But yet, you people that are pushing this stupid DEI are the very same ones that say, illegals welcome, open door, open borders. Done with this shit. Done with this shit. The best of the best. And then what happens? You get to a company. And then let's take a look at the back end of DEI. How much of the turnover is coming from what demographics? Then you got to calculate that bullshit. So then that shit is probably uneven, way uneven as well. Okay, so let's just say even the minority that people say are at a disadvantage might be even the majority of the ones quitting, because even though they were given, let's say, a hand up, a free pass, they're the majority that's quitting and shit. I mean, let's take a look at the turnover rate of that. I mean, this we have no business in that. DEI has no business in any corporation at all whatsoever. Leave that to the education system in this country, okay? You people, NPCs, wake your butts up.